Just 2 years ago, these RVs sold for over $120,000. Today, dealers can't move them for $25,000. Millions of like-new rigs are being dumped across America as the RV market collapses under its own weight. Today, we're uncovering what caused this crash and what it means for every RVer in 2025. Let's get rolling.
Finally tonight here, our Made in America is back, and so is a longtime summer tradition, hitting the open road.
Total RV shipments in May were the biggest on record, up 11.8% year over year.
In May 2025, the RV industry celebrated an unexpected milestone. Shipments jumped 11.8% from the previous year, but that success quickly turned into disaster. Within months, nearly 3 million barely used RVs flooded dealership lots, auctions, and storage fields across America. What once symbolized freedom and adventure now represents financial crisis. The problem? Years of overproduction fueled by easy credit and unchecked optimism. The numbers tell a brutal story. Auction volumes have doubled since late 2024. RVs that once commanded premium prices now sell for 40 to 50% below their original sticker price. Dealers are desperate to clear inventory before interest payments crush them. Lenders, spooked by mounting losses, are slashing credit lines. The human cost is equally stark. Entire communities in Indiana and Texas that built their economies around RV manufacturing and sales now depend on liquidation events just to survive. Workers face layoffs. Small businesses are closing. This isn't a typical market correction. It's the worst downturn in RV industry history. The collapse is erasing profit margins faster than dealers can adapt. What looked like unstoppable demand was actually a bubble inflated by speculation and loose financing. The lesson is harsh but clear. Rapid growth without sustainable demand creates oversupply catastrophes. The chrome-shining rigs sitting unsold in fields nationwide aren't just excess inventory. They're monuments to an industry that mistook a temporary surge for permanent prosperity. The roots of today's RV crisis stretch back to 2020 to 2021. When lockdowns trapped Americans at home, stimulus checks and near-zero interest rates offered an escape. Freedom on wheels. RV shipments exploded past 600,000 units annually, shattering every record in industry history. Families convinced themselves that life on wheels was recession-proof. They took out loans, sometimes for 10 years or more, betting on permanent lifestyle changes. Manufacturers responded by adding production shifts. Dealers borrowed heavily through floor plan loans to stock inventory. Suppliers expanded capacity to meet seemingly endless demand. Then reality hit hard. Gas prices surged to $5 per gallon. The Federal Reserve jacked interest rates above 7% to fight inflation. Suddenly, those floating rate RV loans doubled in monthly cost. Families who stretched their budgets in 2021 found themselves underwater, owing far more than their rigs were worth. The depreciation was brutal. An RV purchased for $90,000 in 2021 might sell for barely $55,000 today. Storage yards filled with idle campers as owners simply walked away from loans they couldn't afford. What the industry mistook for a permanent shift in American lifestyle was actually a pandemic-fueled anomaly. Manufacturers built infrastructure for endless growth. Instead, they're facing a massive glut that experts say could take 3 to 5 years to absorb. The post-pandemic boom has become a collective financial hangover, and the industry is still reeling from the binge. Behind every gleaming RV showroom lies an invisible financial lifeline: floor plan credit. These revolving loans allow dealers to stock inventory, with the balance cleared when each unit sells. During the boom years, this system worked beautifully. Banks lent at 2 to 3% interest, and RVs moved off lots within days. Today, that system is strangling the industry. Interest rates now hover near 10%. Every unsold RV bleeds cash daily. A dealer holding 100 units worth $8 million can owe over $60,000 per month just in financing charges, before paying rent, utilities, or staff. The death spiral accelerates when lenders recalculate collateral values. As auction prices plummet, banks slash credit lines, demanding immediate cash injections most small dealers simply don't have. Desperate owners turn to high-interest bridge loans, trading long-term solvency for short-term survival. The consequences ripple fast. Declining RV values trigger tighter lending, which forces inventory liquidations, which further crushes prices. Layoffs spread through showrooms. Service departments close. Some dealers who thrived for decades collapse in weeks. The cruel irony? During downturns, credit kills faster than competition. A dealer can have loyal customers, experienced staff, and prime location. But without floor plan financing, inventory evaporates and doors close overnight. What was once the engine powering dealership growth has become a tightening noose. When the credit dries up, even the strongest players can't survive. Walk into any regional RV auction today, and you'll feel optimism drain away under harsh fluorescent lights. Endless rows of 2022 and 2023 models line the concrete lanes, many with under 2,000 miles on the odometer. These are essentially new vehicles being sacrificed at fire sale prices. The numbers are staggering. Units that commanded $70,000 last summer now struggle to reach $45,000. Reserve prices, the minimum sellers will accept, crumble by the hour. Clearance rates that once hovered near 90% have collapsed below 70%. More than a quarter of RVs now leave auctions unsold. But here's the twist. Dealers aren't coming to buy anymore. They're coming to liquidate. They're unloading inventory just to make next month's interest payments, swapping one financial problem for another. Industry analysts call auctions the market's truth serum. They expose what corporate press releases carefully hide. When lenders demand cash, brand reputation and customer loyalty become irrelevant. Across the Midwest and South, weekly auction volumes have doubled since 2023, transforming these events into financial triage centers. Each auctioneer's hammer strike announces another loss. Each failed bid marks another casualty. The applause after sales rings hollow. Everyone knows the seller is taking a beating. The auction floor has become the industry's pulse monitor, and the heartbeat is weak. The fundamental equation is brutally simple. Supply now dwarfs demand by an enormous margin. In the end, reality always defeats reputation. The downturn started quietly along suburban highway corridors where RV dealerships cluster. Rising rents, advertising costs, and payrolls collided with vanishing foot traffic. Families facing their own rent increases and $4+ gasoline stopped making discretionary purchases. RVs, already expensive luxuries, became unthinkable. Urban dealers panicked. They slashed prices by 10%, then 20%. Nothing worked. By early 2025, many metro showrooms resembled graveyards, rows of unsold rigs gathering dust beneath aging promotional banners. Rural America held out longer. In small towns across Idaho, Montana, and Oklahoma, RVs aren't just toys, they're practical tools. They represent independence, weekend escapes, and family traditions. Dealerships in these areas initially weathered the storm. Then lenders changed the rules. Credit standards tightened dramatically. Minimum FICO scores jumped to 720. Loan-to-value ratios shrank, requiring larger down payments. Suddenly, even loyal rural customers with steady jobs couldn't qualify for financing. The demand that seemed recession-proof evaporated overnight. What began as an urban slump spread like a contagion. Counties that hadn't seen dealership closures since the 2008 recession are now watching showrooms shutter. Local economies built around RV sales, service departments, and nearby campgrounds are shrinking in lockstep. The collapse has become geographic destiny. It radiated outward from metro centers, following highways and credit lines until every small town feels the chill. From Phoenix suburbs to Montana crossroads, the story is the same. Empty lots, laid-off workers, and communities wondering what comes next when the wheels stop rolling. Northern Indiana once built more than 80% of America's RVs. Towns like Elkhart, Goshen, and Middlebury were the industry's beating heart. Assembly plants running triple shifts, workers flooding in before dawn, paychecks supporting entire communities. Today, that heartbeat has weakened to a whisper. Assembly plants now operate at half capacity, when they operate at all. Temporary closure signs hang on darkened facilities. WARN notices announcing mass layoffs arrive monthly, listing hundreds of workers at a time. Suppliers who provided cabinetry, windows, and axles report orders down 60% year over year. Some have already shuttered permanently. The devastation ripples outward in widening circles. Cafes that served factory breakfasts now close early, or don't open at all. Fuel stations that once filled worker vans sit eerily empty during morning hours. Local contractors who built homes for RV workers have no projects left. Property values in once booming subdivisions are sliding as unemployment climbs past 8% in some counties. Families who bought homes expecting stable factory jobs now face foreclosure. Schools brace for funding cuts as tax revenues evaporate. The silence inside those massive shuttered assembly bays echoes through the entire national supply chain. When Indiana stops building, suppliers from California to Florida feel the shock. Component manufacturers, logistics companies, and finishing shops all lose business simultaneously. This isn't merely a cyclical production slowdown that will bounce back next quarter. It's a structural reset erasing decades of local prosperity, transforming America's RV capital into a cautionary tale about industries built on unsustainable booms. Behind the inventory glut and dealer closures lurks a quieter crisis, one that's rewriting who can own an RV in America. Lenders who once approved almost anyone with a paycheck have slammed their vaults shut. The average credit score needed for RV financing has surged from 670 to over 730, instantly locking millions of middle-income families out of the market. Those who do qualify face punishing new terms. Down payments have doubled from 10% to as high as 25%, and interest rates now hover between 9 and 12%, even for borrowers with solid credit. This has created a brutal financial caste system. Cash buyers, often investors or wealthy retirees, scoop up discounted units at auction. Meanwhile, working families who financed RVs during the pandemic watch helplessly from the sidelines, trapped by underwater loans and credit rules they can no longer meet. Every rejected loan application creates a ripple. Dealers starved of qualified buyers/staff and advertising budgets. Lenders, seeing weaker sales data, tighten credit standards even further. It becomes a self-reinforcing spiral. Fewer buyers mean fewer sales mean stricter lending, and stricter lending shrinks the market further. This silent credit freeze may prove more devastating than falling prices. At least price drops eventually attract buyers. But when financing disappears, the market itself vanishes. What was once the great American symbol of mobility and freedom is becoming a privilege reserved for the financially elite. A bitter reversal for an industry that built its identity on accessibility and democratic adventure. Repossessions have become the RV industry's fastest-growing business, and its darkest reality. As interest rates climbed and resale values plummeted, owners holding 10 or 15-year loans discovered a nightmare. They owed far more than their RVs were worth. Walking away became the only rational choice for thousands of families. In 2025 alone, banks initiated over 120,000 RV repossessions, a staggering 70% increase from the previous year. Each recovered unit immediately joins the auction glut, driving prices even lower and trapping more owners underwater. It's a vicious, self-feeding cycle. More repossessions flood the market with supply, which crushes values further, which triggers new waves of defaults. Lenders have responded by slamming the door shut. Loan officers rewrote policy manuals overnight, demanding massive down payments and near-perfect credit scores. Refinancing options, once common escape routes for struggling borrowers, have virtually disappeared. For those already in default, collection calls multiply until the tow truck finally arrives. Drive past storage lots in Florida or Arizona today, and you'll witness the aftermath. Endless rows of clean, late-model RVs sitting idle under the sun, awaiting new owners who may inherit hidden mechanical problems and unclear maintenance histories. What was marketed as the American dream of freedom and adventure has devolved into a nationwide liquidation cycle. Families who financed their futures to chase open roads now face ruined credit and lost down payments. The rigs remain, gleaming and empty, monuments to optimism that couldn't survive economic reality. Amid the flood of discounted RVs lurks a dangerous threat: the zombie RV. These are flood-damaged or storm-wrecked units that insurers declared total losses, only to be resurrected through tidal washing and cosmetic repairs. After hurricanes and hailstorms devastate RV storage facilities, unscrupulous dealers acquire totaled units cheaply. They apply fresh paint, replace visible fixtures, and manipulate paperwork across state lines to generate clean titles. The result looks pristine in photographs and gleams under showroom lights. But beneath that shiny exterior, catastrophe waits. Moisture trapped inside wall insulation breeds toxic black mold. Corroded electrical wiring hidden behind panels becomes a fire hazard. Compromised brake systems fail without warning. Frame damage weakens structural integrity. According to federal data, more than 15,000 salvaged RVs illegally re-entered commerce in 2024 alone. They sell for half of book value, a tempting discount that can prove deadly. Brake failures on highways, electrical fires in campgrounds, family vacations poisoned by toxic air quality. Protection requires vigilance, not blind trust. Verify the VIN through the National Motor Vehicle Title Information System. This federal database tracks salvage and flood titles across states. Demand a moisture meter inspection. Hidden water damage reveals itself through elevated readings in walls and floors. Never accept a clean title at face value. Request complete documentation history and service records. The cheapest deal on the lot can become a rolling health hazard within months. In today's desperate market, that bargain price dream rig might be a nightmare in disguise. Your family's safety is worth the extra diligence. In collapsing markets, emotion becomes the most expensive luxury. Every RV carries two price tags: the dealer's hopeful sticker and the cold, data-driven reality of what units actually sell for. Tools like JD Power, Black Book, and recent auction results reveal market truth. That 2022 fifth wheel listed at $60,000? It probably sold at auction last week for $38,500. The gap between fantasy and fact has never been wider. Smart buyers build spreadsheets, not dreams. Start with verified wholesale auction prices. Adjust for actual mileage, options, and visible condition. Then add 10% cushion for hidden repairs that always emerge. This arithmetic transforms wishful thinking into realistic foresight. Consider the cautionary tale. Consumers who bought emotionally during 2021's frenzy now face 30 to 40% equity losses. They financed feelings instead of facts. Understanding depreciation isn't pessimism, it's financial self-defense. When markets correct violently, mathematics becomes your only reliable compass. Dealer stories about holding value or limited availability collapse under scrutiny. Auction data doesn't lie. Recent sales comparables don't negotiate. In 2025's brutal landscape, two types of buyers exist: those who treat data as armor and those who chase nostalgia into debt. The former walk away from overpriced units without regret. The latter sign loan documents they'll regret for years. Informed arithmetic has replaced impulse as the currency of survival. Before you fall in love with Chrome and floor plans, fall in love with spreadsheets. Your financial future depends on it. In a credit-starved market, cash is king, but timing is the throne. Dealers drowning in floor plan debt will reward disciplined patience with discounts that seemed impossible just months ago. Two seasonal windows offer maximum leverage: late winter, January to March. Showrooms must slash floor plan debt before spring inventory arrives. Dealers are desperate for cash flow. Early autumn, September to October. Next year's models land, making current inventory instantly obsolete. Floor space becomes more valuable than profit margins. During these periods, discounts of 15 to 25% off retail prices are common, without aggressive haggling. Cash buyers hold enormous advantage, but only if they reveal it strategically. Announce you're paying cash too early, and negotiation ends. The dealer knows you're committed. Instead, let them assume you're financing, negotiate the lowest possible price, then unveil cash only at the contract stage. This gives you control of the entire transaction. For buyers requiring financing, dissecting contracts becomes critical. A seemingly small 2-point interest rate difference on a $70,000 loan adds over $7,000 in lifetime costs. Shop lenders independently before setting foot in a showroom. The best deals combine patience, exhaustive research, and strategic silence. Dealers fear informed customers because they can't manipulate them. They respect precise ones because arguing with data is futile. In a collapsing market, the calm, data-driven buyer isn't prey, they're the predator. While desperate sellers compete for your attention, you hold the ultimate weapon: the ability to walk away until the numbers make sense. Every collapse writes its own blueprint for rebirth. The RV industry is already sketching the outlines of recovery, but what emerges won't resemble what came before. Analysts predict the market could bottom out by mid-2026, but only if manufacturers restrain production and dealers stop flooding auctions. The survivors won't be the biggest dreamers, they'll be the most disciplined operators. Consolidation is already reshaping the landscape. Small, family-run dealerships that once anchored local economies are being absorbed by corporate giants like Camping World, Lazy Days, and General RV. These mega networks possess the credit access, marketing muscle, and cash reserves to endure years of volatility. A fragmented entrepreneurial industry is rapidly becoming an oligopoly of nationwide brands. Meanwhile, new ownership models are emerging. Subscription-based RV memberships, peer-to-peer rental platforms, and RV co-ops let travelers share costs rather than shoulder-crushing loans. The next generation values access over ownership, mirroring the shift that transformed the auto industry through ride-sharing. Manufacturers are pivoting too. Expect smaller, lighter, energy-efficient designs tailored for electric tow vehicles and high fuel costs. Solar integration, modular interiors, and robust off-grid capabilities will define the next wave of innovation. The post-crash reset won't restore the old RV dream, it will reinvent it entirely. What rises from these ashes will be leaner, smarter, and permanently transformed. The industry will be built not on pandemic-fueled hype and easy credit, but on hard-earned caution and sustainable business models. Freedom on wheels isn't dead, it's just getting rebuilt from the ground up. In the great RV collapse, not every vehicle is falling at the same speed. Understanding this hierarchy separates smart buyers from panicked ones. Class A motorhomes, those $250,000 luxury icons that once symbolized retirement dreams, have crashed hardest. They've lost up to 35% of resale value in a single season. Why? Sky-high fuel costs, expensive diesel maintenance, and the reality that fewer buyers can afford $800 monthly insurance premiums. Class C models are dropping around 20%, but remain family favorites. They're large enough for comfort, yet small enough for practical use. Their depreciation hurts, but it's survivable. Towables and pop-ups show the slowest decline, just 10 to 15%. They're easier to store, cheaper to tow, and don't require engine maintenance. In uncertain times, simplicity wins. This reveals a brutal market law. The higher the original sticker price, the harder the fall. Here's the trap many buyers miss. Luxury RVs that now seem affordable still carry luxury-level repair bills. You'll face $1,000 tires, $6,000 slide-out repairs, and $10,000 engine overhauls. That $150,000 Class A marked down to $95,000 still costs like a $150,000 rig to maintain. Meanwhile, smaller trailers retain their mechanical simplicity and resale stability. Durability now beats prestige. Understanding these depreciation curves transforms panic into opportunity. Knowing where the floor lies for each category means you can buy strategically, not desperately. Smart buyers will ride the eventual recovery. Desperate ones will be buried by maintenance costs they never anticipated. The RV industry didn't crash. It overdosed on cheap credit and blind optimism. The RV market has experienced a breathtaking collapse. Prices have plummeted 60 to 80% from their pandemic peaks, turning what was once a seller's paradise into a buyer's bonanza. Consider this. A 2021 Keystone Montana fifth wheel that sold for $125,000 during the COVID boom now lists for as little as $25,000 on dealer lots. Luxury models that once required 6-month wait lists now sit beneath desperate must-go banners. At national auctions, RVs that commanded $50,000 in 2022 are barely fetching $28,000 today. Some Class A motorhomes have lost over $100,000 in value within just 2 years. Dealerships across Indiana, Texas, and Florida are drowning in unsold inventory, slashing prices below cost just to reduce mounting interest charges on their floor plan financing. The market has completely flipped. What triggered the pandemic RV rush, remote work flexibility and travel restrictions, has evaporated. Now dealers face the painful reality of aging stock and evaporated demand, while savvy buyers can cherry-pick quality rigs for pennies on the dollar. The RV valuation crash has rewritten the rulebook, and experts warn the bottom may not be here yet. The RV crash began with a boom. When COVID-19 locked down the world in 2020, RVs became escape vehicles for families desperate to travel safely. Dealers sold out of inventory within days. Manufacturers responded by producing a record-breaking 600,000 units in 2021, the highest in history. Stimulus checks, rock-bottom interest rates, and remote work flexibility fueled an unprecedented buying frenzy. First-time buyers with zero camping experience were suddenly dropping $80,000 to $150,000 on luxury rigs. Factories in Elkhart, Indiana ran around-the-clock shifts. Wait lists stretched for months. But the boom had consequences. Racing to meet demand, manufacturers cut corners. Solid wood became particle board, insulation thinned, and quality took a backseat to speed. Meanwhile, the industry assumed the surge would last forever and kept production at maximum capacity. Then reality hit. Travel restrictions lifted, flights resumed, and remote work mandates ended. Demand evaporated almost overnight, but factories kept churning out RVs. By 2023, thousands of unsold units flooded dealer lots nationwide. The very conditions that created the biggest RV boom in history, pandemic desperation, easy money, and production overdrive, became the forces that triggered its catastrophic collapse. Dealers who couldn't keep stock were suddenly buried under mountains of depreciating inventory, and the RV revolution came crashing down. The numbers tell a brutal story. RV shipments crashed from over 600,000 units in 2021 to roughly 333,000 in 2024. A devastating 45% collapse in just 3 years. The used RV price index has plunged 25% from pandemic peaks, erasing billions in resale value nationwide. Industry giants are reeling. Winnebago reported a staggering 50% sales drop within a single year, while Thor Industries slashed production forecasts for 2 consecutive quarters. Dealer lots that once bustled with buyers now sit eerily quiet. Foot traffic has plummeted nearly 50% between 2022 and 2024. The culprit? Economic reality. RVs are the ultimate discretionary purchase, and when inflation drives up fuel, food, and insurance costs, luxury toys get cut first. American families are tightening budgets, and $100,000 motorhomes don't make the priority list anymore. Auction clearance rates have hit record lows. Every metric, sales, shipments, trade-ins, points downward. Miles of unsold inventory now bake under the sun at dealerships nationwide, symbols of a boom gone bust. What makes this crash different is that both new and used markets are falling simultaneously. This isn't a seasonal dip or temporary slowdown. It's a deep structural correction. The outdoor renaissance that defined the pandemic era has officially ended, leaving the industry facing its worst crisis in decades. Even with prices crashing, RV ownership remains a distant dream for most Americans because financing costs have exploded. Interest rates now sit between 8% and 10%, more than double the pandemic-era lows. A $50,000 used RV now comes with monthly payments around $1,200 over 10 years, higher than many mortgages. Banks and credit unions have tightened lending standards dramatically, demanding larger down payments and rejecting applicants who would have sailed through approval just 3 years ago. Dealers report that even qualified buyers are walking away after seeing their loan quotes. But the sticker price is only the beginning. Maintenance costs have tripled in some cases. Repairs that once ran $400 to $800 now exceed $3,000 due to parts shortages and labor inflation. Extended warranties routinely fail to cover real breakdowns, leaving owners blindsided by thousands in unexpected bills. Insurance premiums have surged, and storage fees keep climbing. What manufacturers once marketed as freedom on wheels has become a financial trap. For retirees on fixed incomes and families already stretched thin, the math simply doesn't work anymore. Dealers may be slashing prices to move inventory, but when high interest rates double the true cost of ownership, even bargain RVs remain out of reach for average buyers. The affordability crisis has become the final nail in the market's coffin. Midwest RV dealerships have transformed from bustling sales centers into desperate storage yards. Acres of asphalt now shimmer under hundreds of unsold rigs, many less than a year old. Staff park on nearby streets because the lots are physically jammed with inventory nobody wants. The problem is financial suffocation. Dealers finance their inventory through floor plan loans, credit lines that charge $300 to $600 per month in interest per unit. With hundreds of RVs sitting idle, that's tens of thousands in monthly losses before a single sale. Internally, managers tag these units as aged stock, code for profit-bleeding liabilities. Some dealerships have resorted to selling new RVs below cost just to pay off lenders and stop the bleeding. Liquidation weekends promise deep discounts, but buyers still aren't biting. Every week a rig sits unsold. Its value drops while insurance costs and financing interest compound relentlessly. Dealers are now delaying payments to manufacturers, straining crucial supplier relationships. Many operate at negative cash flow, trapped in an impossible choice. Take catastrophic losses immediately by dumping inventory at fire sale prices, or hold out and risk bankruptcy as interest charges pile up. It's a perfect storm of debt, depreciation, and desperation. And for many dealers, there's no clear path to survival. The new RV collapse has triggered a trade-in catastrophe. Owners who bought during the pandemic boom are discovering their rigs have lost 40 to 60% of their value in just 2 years. Units that sold for $50,000 to $60,000 at auction now struggle to reach $25,000, and many don't sell at all. Dealers have stopped accepting trade-ins entirely, terrified of adding more unsold inventory. Some now tell customers bluntly, sell it privately and come back with cash. But private sales aren't working either. In Texas, Arizona, and Florida, desperate owners list RVs thousands below payoff value, yet buyers keep scrolling. The stories are brutal. A Texas couple who paid $80,000 for a fifth wheel received a trade-in offer of just $35,000, leaving them tens of thousands upside down on their loan. Walking away means writing a check for the difference. Repossession yards are overflowing. Transport trucks sit idle, waiting for space to unload seized units from owners who simply couldn't afford the payments anymore. Industry insiders now call it a gridlock market. Too much supply, zero demand, and no visibility on where prices will bottom out. For thousands of RV owners, the dream of upgrading or selling has become a financial nightmare with no easy exit. In northern Indiana's Elkhart County, where nearly half the workforce depends on RV manufacturing, the industry collapse has become an economic catastrophe. Factory floors once roaring with saws and air compressors now sit eerily quiet. Winnebago reported sales down over 50% year over year. Thor Industries issued similar warnings and began scaling back production lines. The result? Sweeping layoffs across the region. Parking lots that once overflowed with worker trucks now sit half empty. Restaurants that thrived on factory lunch rushes have shortened hours or closed completely. The damage extends far beyond the factory gates. Smaller suppliers, makers of cabinets, wiring harnesses, axles, and upholstery, are slashing hours or shutting down entirely. Each missing paycheck ripples through local diners, hardware stores, car dealerships, and school budgets, triggering a full-scale regional recession. Company press releases describe the cuts as temporary right-sizing, but locals remember 2008, when those same words masked years of painful recovery. Workers who survived past downturns now face another round of uncertainty. For towns built entirely around RV production, this isn't a soft landing. It's an economic gut punch threatening entire communities. When the RV industry sneezes, Elkhart County catches pneumonia. For average American families, the RV dream has become mathematically impossible. Inflation has outpaced wages over the past 2 years, forcing households to prioritize survival over recreation. Groceries, rent, insurance, and utilities have surged 15 to 30%, leaving no room for discretionary spending. Retirees on fixed incomes can't justify $1,000 monthly RV payments anymore. Younger families juggling student loans, car notes, and childcare have been priced out entirely. Dealers report that serious buyers have vanished, replaced by window shoppers who all end conversations the same way. Maybe next year. The trendy van life movement that once dominated social media has cooled dramatically as reality sets in. Fuel costs, maintenance bills, and storage fees have exposed the myth of financial freedom on the road. What influencers made look effortless now feels like a luxury reserved for the wealthy. Dealerships watch foot traffic evaporate while their lots overflow with unsold inventory. Manufacturers face the harsh truth. Their customers simply don't exist right now. Until wages catch up to inflation or interest rates drop significantly, household budgets will remain frozen. The RV market isn't waiting for a seasonal rebound. It's waiting for an entire economic shift that may not come anytime soon. Thousands of RV owners are now financially trapped, owing far more than their rigs are worth. An Arizona couple financed a Jayco Eagle for $85,000 during the pandemic. Today, it appraises at just $38,000, less than half. When they tried refinancing to lower payments, lenders refused due to insufficient collateral value. To sell, they'd need to write a check for tens of thousands just to hand over the keys. Online forums overflow with similar stories: high-interest loans, plummeting resale values, and no escape route. Many RVs now sit abandoned in driveways or storage lots because owners can't afford fuel, insurance, or repairs. For some, walking away is cheaper than continuing payments. Dealers refuse trade-ins on underwater units. Repossessions are surging as defaults climb. What began as dreams of full-time travel has become a rolling debt trap, a depreciating asset chained to rising costs with no way out. The emotional toll is crushing. Owners feel betrayed by manufacturers and lenders who promised lasting value and financial freedom. Instead, they're stuck with rigs they can't use, can't sell, and can't afford to keep. A monument to broken promises parked in their driveway, draining their savings month after month. While panicked owners scramble to sell, a new breed of cash buyers is quietly capitalizing on the chaos. Retired mechanics, seasoned travelers, and savvy investors arrive at dealerships with one advantage: cash in hand. They skip financing entirely, avoiding today's brutal 8 to 10% interest rates. Their strategy is surgical. They target clean, pre-pandemic models under $30,000, specifically rigs built between 2016 and 2019, before the production boom sacrificed quality for speed. Brands like Keystone, Jayco, and Coachman from that era are known for solid construction and readily available parts. These buyers calculate long-term costs, storage, insurance, repairs, before signing anything. At auctions across Texas, Florida, and Indiana, they're dominating bidding wars, securing mid-range trailers at 40 to 50% of former retail prices. Their philosophy? Buy when everyone's scared. They represent the early recovery phase of any market collapse, cautious, analytical, and patient. While others flee in panic, they see opportunity. For these bargain hunters, the RV crash isn't a crisis. It's a chance to buy freedom on clearance. In Elkhart, Indiana, the RV crash isn't abstract data. It's an economic earthquake. Nearly 1 in 2 workers depends on the RV industry, so when production slows, the shockwaves hit everywhere. Diners that once served packed lunch crowds now close 2 or 3 days a week. Hardware stores report plummeting sales. Landlords see rent checks arrive late or not at all. Even high school fundraisers struggle as household incomes evaporate. The pain extends beyond factory floors. When orders stop, workers lose paychecks, insurance, benefits, sometimes homes. Corporate headquarters call this a sector correction. Locals call it what it is, a collapse. The entire regional economy, built on decades of steady RV demand, is unraveling in real time. Despite reassurances that cuts are temporary, residents remember 2008, when temporary stretched into years of hardship. Many families never fully recovered. For these communities, the RV slump isn't just another business cycle, it's existential. Every factory shutdown, every layoff notice, every darkened storefront tells the story of an industry's forgotten backbone. The people who built America's dream machines, now watching their own dreams crumble. Amid the wreckage, a few fragile signs suggest the RV market may be stabilizing, though recovery remains distant. The Federal Reserve has hinted at possible interest rate cuts later this year, which could lower loan payments and cautiously reopen financing for buyers. Manufacturers are quietly streamlining operations, cutting bloated model lineups, and eliminating expensive luxury features that added flash, but not reliability. Some dealers report inventory levels slowly declining as they stop ordering new stock until existing lots finally clear. But analysts emphasize this isn't a rebound, it's stabilization. True balance between supply and demand won't return for 12 to 18 months at minimum. Consumer behavior has shifted permanently. Buyers no longer chase size or Instagram-worthy status symbols. They want durability, fuel efficiency, and low maintenance costs. Industry forecasters predict demand will pivot towards smaller, affordable towables and Class B vans, marking a cultural shift from luxury travel to practical, sustainable living. The RV industry isn't healing, it's reinventing itself from the ground up. Only when dealer lots thin out, used inventories stabilize, and factories cautiously restart production will genuine recovery emerge. For now, the market remains in limbo, no longer collapsing, but far from thriving. Every market crash eventually finds its floor. The RV collapse is no different. The question isn't if it will stabilize, but when. Experts identify 3 clear indicators that signal the true bottom. First, dealer inventory drops below 90 days, meaning rigs sell faster than new ones arrive. Second, used price guides like Black Book and NADA stop falling month to month, showing resale value stability. Third, and most critical, sustained buyer activity during spring and summer seasons, not just browsers, but actual signed contracts. Recent auction data from Elkhart, Dallas, and Tampa shows faint signs of this shift. Clearance rates are ticking upward for clean, late-model towables. Bidding is becoming competitive again after 2 years of steep markdowns. Some dealerships even report their first month-over-month inventory decline since 2022. But analysts urge caution. A brief uptick doesn't equal recovery. Many models will never regain former prices. Warranties have expired. Weaker brands may vanish entirely. Smart buyers are watching these signals closely, waiting for stability, not hype. The moment all 3 trends align will mark the first real opportunity to buy without catching a falling knife. Until then, patience remains the wisest strategy in a market still searching for solid ground. In a market littered with bankruptcies and liquidation sales, a handful of RV brands are emerging as survivors, not through luxury, but through smart, practical engineering. Brands like Keystone's Cougar, Jayco's J-Flight, and Coachman's Catalina held firm by prioritizing simplicity, standardized parts, and proven frames over trendy features. Their rigs lack marble countertops and touchscreen panels, but they offer what today's buyers actually value: durability and affordability. These models can be serviced at almost any shop, and replacement parts cost hundreds instead of thousands, critical in an era of soaring maintenance costs. Dealers confirm these no-nonsense rigs are the fastest-moving inventory. When cautious buyers finally return, they skip past luxury models and head straight for proven workhorses. These companies survived by keeping debt low and maintaining strong supplier relationships, avoiding the overexpansion that destroyed competitors during the boom. Having learned hard lessons from 2008, they built for resilience rather than hype. As the industry resets, these survivor brands will form the backbone of recovery, rebuilding consumer trust and redefining value in a market that's been burned by excess. In the next phase of the RV market, simplicity isn't compromise. It's the new gold standard. A new breed of RV buyer is reshaping the market, driven not by wanderlust, but by economic necessity. Over 1 million Americans now live full-time in their RVs, and that number keeps climbing as housing prices and rents shatter records. Retiring boomers are trading fixed mortgages for rolling homes, while younger families see RVs as their only affordable path to independence. What started as a lifestyle trend has become a survival strategy amid a national housing crisis. Manufacturers are beginning to notice the shift. These buyers don't care about luxury upgrades or mood lighting. They want fuel efficiency, insulation, reliability, and storage space. They ask how well a rig heats through winter, or how easy it is to replace a water pump in the desert, not whether the refrigerator has Wi-Fi connectivity. The very definition of RV is evolving from recreational toy to alternative housing solution. Analysts predict this practical demand will drive slower, steadier sales favoring function over flash. The crash didn't kill the RV dream, it transformed it. Freedom on wheels still exists, but the meaning has changed. It's no longer about Instagram-worthy adventures or status symbols. It's about affordability. It's about survival. It's about finding home in a world where traditional housing has become unattainable. After years of chaos, the RV market has reached a crossroads, and every buyer must decide whether to act now or wait. Walk any dealer lot and you'll see the aftermath. Rigs that once sold for $120,000 now marked down to $25,000, stickers faded under relentless sun. On paper, it looks like paradise, but the truth depends entirely on your position. If you're paying cash, have steady income, and a solid plan for storage and maintenance, the next few months could deliver once-in-a-lifetime deals. Cash buyers skip loan interest, negotiate deeper discounts, and avoid risky long-term financing traps. But for anyone relying on credit, danger remains. Interest rates near 10%, climbing insurance costs, and continued depreciation can erase savings overnight. Analysts warn values may slide another 10 to 15% before truly stabilizing. The smartest buyers are patient, inspecting build quality religiously, checking how long units have sat unsold, and demanding written warranty proof. Excitement has no place here. Timing and research are everything. The RV crash has transformed buying from impulse to strategy. The next few months will separate those who secure genuine bargains from those who inherit someone else's financial nightmare. Choose wisely. What's happening to RVs today could happen to cars, homes, even the entire economy tomorrow. Do you think this collapse is temporary or permanent? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I read everyone. And don't miss our next video, where we expose the dealers secretly liquidating their fleets right now before those hidden deals disappear.